Engineering Department, ETH, Zurich, Switzerland. He received his doctorate in computer science from ETH, Zurich. He also worked some years at Microsoft Research in Redmond, Washington, and Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, and Mercury University in Sydney, Australia. So his research interests are a variety of algorithms and system aspects in computer science and information technology. Please start talk.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the introduction. Pleasure to be here. You'll see in a second that my background is not cryptography, so I'm still daring to talk about cryptography in this talk. So, it's going to be somewhat light and hopefully interesting. So first slide, I would like to start with a little apology. I'm not a cryptographer. My area, I have maybe two areas that I do work in. One is more like theoretical computer science, like StockFox, if you know those conferences. And the other is very applied kind of stuff in computer science. But not cryptography, so I have never published a BCC or anything crypto. I think my first paper as a student was actually a crypto paper, my first project, and it was actually later published, but without my name, so unfortunate. Good. So, the role of cryptography in distributed systems. So I'm going to talk about distributed systems, and the motivation comes from blockchain. However, we talked about this in the school yesterday, and also we had a nice introduction just before, so I'm going to keep this very, very fast. Just blockchain is nearly 10 years old now, and the basics on 3 slides, just making a movie out of them, is you have transactions, which could be financial transactions between 2 people, for instance. You put these transactions in a block, and the block you put in a chain, and the chain you distribute among several computers. That's a blockchain. Okay, so all of these machines here, they know all the same information, they have the same transactions in the same blocks, and that makes it somewhat fault tolerant and interesting for distributed systems. Okay. That's the shortest introduction I can do on this subject. Now let's go to the distributed systems part and see what is really interesting there. And I'm going to talk about the problem which is maybe, in my opinion, the most important open problem in distributed systems, okay, I would say. And even in this talk it's not solved, okay? I don't know how to solve it really. I wish I would have better news, but I don't. Oh, okay. Get this one. Great, thank you very much. So the idea is that you have a bunch of machines, and these machines, they have the same state. They are currently in the same state, which means they have the same idea what this blockchain is about. I hope this stops again. So they all are in state S, and the question is, if you want to add new transactions to the blockchain, they should agree on the next state. What transactions should be added? That's the core problem of a blockchain for non-cryptographers. Okay? So they would, maybe add some new transaction, and then they all go to state T, for instance. Okay, that would be great. The problem is this is somewhat difficult to achieve because transactions are injected into the network, as we just heard in the previous talk. And some of these computers, some of these nodes might want to add different transactions than other nodes, okay? So it could happen that, some nodes in the network try to now append a block with transaction T prime in it, and some try to append a transaction with block T in it. So that's, the basic problem we face here. So what we have to do is these nodes here have to agree what is the next transaction they can append, okay? So that's the basic problem. The problem is with this, maybe this would still be easy. The problem is that we want to, work against nodes which are controlled by malicious Byzantine adversaries. Okay, there might be some parts of our network, some of the participants in the network, they might be, controlled by a bad power. Okay, and they might to try to make it impossible to agree on the next state. And that's what we want to solve. We want, in particular the good guys, they should get agreement despite these bad guys. So this is the fundamental problem in distributed systems, I would say. It's called Byzantine agreement, and sometimes people also call it consensus. From a distributed systems person, I would say consensus is the version where the machines can just crash. So the only kind of failure you have is that they crash. Byzantine agreement is the version where, where some of the nodes can not only crash, but they can do arbitrary bad things. They can collude, they can lie, and they do all sorts of things. But however, I know that in this community, or the blockchain community, particularly people call it consensus nevertheless. So I have to live with this. The same way as you have to live with just being crypto now, being just called cryptocurrency and not, cryptographic research anymore. So as crypto guys, you're now cryptocurrency guys, unfortunately. So this Byzantine agreement problem is a classic problem. I'm going to explain it to you quickly. And I'm particularly going to explain the fundamental result about it. The fundamental result is if you just have 3 participants, just 3 computers, they cannot agree, even though if just one of those guys is a Byzantine node, okay? Here we have horns on the machines, so we know which one is the bad guy, but in real life, of course, you don't know that, right? It's just 3 machines. So in real life, let's say 3 machines. This guy here wants to, as a next block, wants to have a transaction called 0, and this node here wants to have a transaction called 1, and he is a Byzantine guy, so this node just wants to kind of make sure that there's no agreement among those nodes. So now this is somewhat the most difficult case you can have here. The problem is, even if you know that one of those 3 nodes is Byzantine, but you don't know which one is Byzantine, you just know one of the 3 nodes is Byzantine, it's not so easy to decide what to do now. So what you might think is you might want to go for a majority, for instance. You might want to check with the other nodes what they want to have as a next block, whether they want to decide for 0 or for 1, and then you make a majority decision. Okay, so that's something that may be very natural. But this node, of course, here can do arbitrary things. In particular, can lie about what it wants. It can tell this node here that it wants 0. It can tell this node that it wants 1. It sends messages to these nodes and says, I would like to have 0, respectively 1 as the next decision. And now this node says, well, I want 1, and another node wants 1, that's great, so we probably decide for 1, and this node might say, well, I have 0, another node wants 0, so we probably decide for 0, which would be against the idea of this protocol. We want to get agreement, so all of them should agree, or at least the 2 good guys should agree. Is this clear? Now you can say, well, maybe that's silly, if we should maybe decide on something else, if something like this happens that not everybody agrees regarding what they want. So, and now we can think about this a little bit. So, in particular, if you could have a protocol which just always decides on 0, okay? No matter what the nodes want, they always decide on 0. That would be possible, but that seems to be too simple, okay? We cannot just always decide on the same thing. We have to decide on actual transactions, so we have to decide on actual inputs. So what people usually say here is that if you have 3 nodes and one of them could be bad, then if at least 2 of them agree, then they should decide on that, because the bad guy you can never have agree on anything, right? He just tries to make sure that there's no decision, and the good guys, together they can agree on something. But this would be exactly the situation, right? You have 2 guys which agree on something, that's what he sees, and 2 guys which agree on something, that's also what he sees. And maybe they can exchange more messages and they can come up with complicated protocols, but it doesn't really help anything, because if you make it more complicated, then for instance he might say, well, he might ask this node what this guy told you, and he says, well, he told me 0, and he says, well, he told me 1, so he must be a liar. But that's not so easy, right? It could also be that this node is the liar. It could be that this node really said 1 to everybody, and now this node is just reporting, well, but to me it's at 0, and I also have 0, so that's, it's very difficult to find out who are the bad guys. You see this problem? Well, unless you use cryptography, of course, then it becomes much simpler. So, that's the statement, very famous statement by Leslie Lamport and others. Lamport won the Turing Award for sure also for this inside. So Byzantine agreement is impossible if a third of the nodes are bad. Okay? If it's less than a third, it's fine, but if a third are bad, it's impossible. So unless you use crypto, with crypto everything becomes nice. So what you do is basically you append digital signatures to these messages here that you send around, and then these nodes can exchange these messages that were sent by this node here, for instance, and then they see, well, he really said 0, they can check this, they can verify this and see if he really said 0 to this node, he really said 1 to this node, and then you have a proof that this is a Byzantine guy. Okay? That makes things much simpler. Okay? But, okay, this is a problem which potentially is solvable without crypto, so we want to solve it without crypto. Okay? So that's, maybe you guys will disagree with me and say, well, why not use crypto? We have it. So why am I interested in this, solve it without crypto? Because I would say that it gives us some insight what crypto really is, okay? Because if we have a problem which kind of is on the boundary where we can solve or not solve it without crypto, with crypto it makes it interesting. What kind of crypto would we need, and so on. I don't know much about crypto, I should say, but as a motivation, so to speak, as a philosophical motivation for my talk, this has the whole there. Good. All right, this is a very busy slide, so I apologize, but it's actually quite simple. So how do we do it without crypto? Let me tell you how we can do it without crypto. What is the general idea? General idea is that every node, you have a node with n nodes, let's say, everybody has a vote, okay? That's the original input, okay? They want to vote for that. I'm just looking at binary consensus here. They have either a 0 or a 1 as input, and that's their initial vote. Then in the second step, they send their votes to everybody, okay? They send their vote around to everybody. And then they wait for n minus f nodes. So n is the number of participants, and f is actually the number of bad guys, the failed, faulty nodes, so to speak. So they wait for that many nodes, and the reason they wait for that many nodes is because the Byzantine guys can do whatever they want. For instance, they can say, I don't want to send something around, okay? Just keep quiet to make it difficult for the others to make decisions. So that's why they wait only for the good guys. So, okay? At most, F are bad guys. So after you got that many votes together, and you always will get them because there are at least n minus f good guys, you will get it eventually. Then you kind of check on this complicated looking scale how many votes of what type you got. And it's just binary here. So either you got only ones, that's on this extreme, or you got only zeros, that's on this side. Okay? Or you got something in the middle, okay, that's between those two things. So here is the half point, here you get exactly half zeros, exactly half ones. Alright, and then depending on how many zeros or ones you got, you make a decision, okay? And in particular, if you get a large majority of ones, almost all ones, and I can explain the details a bit later, then you would immediately say, let's decide on one, because we have such an overwhelming majority that even the Byzantine guys could not make anything bad here. It seems that we really want to decide on one. If you have an overwhelming majority, it's the symmetric case over here, you decide for 0. If you have a somewhat large majority for one of the two values, in particular here for 1, if you have not only half the votes, but half plus f for some technical reason, I can explain in a second, then you would vote for 1 in the next round. And you would go up again, and your vote is now 1. Okay? You would say, deterministically say, this is what I want. Same here for 0. And if you are in the middle, if it's kind of not a strong majority on either side, you do something interesting. Okay? That's the only thing which is interesting on this slide. So what do you do here? And the suggestion in the 80s was that everybody just flips a coin which says 0 on one side and 1 on the other side. Okay? That was the suggestion. And then with this, you go into the next round, and you do it again unless you decided. Then you just send around that you decided to everybody, and then it basically stops because you decided. If you were here, actually, one could argue, maybe I should put this argument quickly now. If, let's say, you are a node and you see something here, then everybody else either also sees something in this bucket, or at most sees something in the neighbor bucket. Okay? So this is why we have these buckets here. And the reason is that if I collect nodes, these votes as a node, and somebody else also collects n minus f votes, then this other node might collect different votes from myself, okay? Slightly different votes, because we just wait for n minus f, so f might be different ones. We selected a different subset of n minus f votes. And then another f might be different because Byzantine nodes might send different stuff to different nodes, okay? So basically the difference could be 2f between them. And that's exactly why I have these buckets here. So you see, I have a difference of 2f between this and this, I have a difference of 2f between this and this, difference of 2f here and here. So this means immediately that if somebody's in some bucket here, other participants can only be in a neighboring bucket. It cannot be that somebody's in this bucket and somebody's in this bucket. It cannot be that somebody decides and somebody flips a coin. It can only be somebody decides and somebody votes the same for the next round. And this is if this is the case, if they all decide, they either decide or vote for the same, then in the next round they will all have the same and they'll finish. This clear? This is known as the Ben-Or framework. It's one of our three ways to do this. And it's really bad. And why it's really bad? Because of this part, okay? So here you just flip a coin. Okay, you just flip a coin. And that's, if you, let's say, have 1,000 nodes, 1,000 participants, like Bitcoin has 5,000 participants, and you will do it this way, chances are that if everybody just flips a coin, the next thing you're going to see, if you wait for n minus f votes again in the next round, you're going to see something which is again in this area, right? It's like central limit theorem basically. You just expect that you see as many zeros as ones because everybody just sent around the random thing, right? So that's where we are. So basically, if we do this, it works, but it takes exponential time. It works without cryptography, but it takes exponential time. It's not something, a practical person myself. So what else could you do? You could do something like this. You could have, the very same setup, the very same thing I just explained to you in the previous slide. But I'm going to replace this coin flip here with something, with an oracle, for instance, okay? So there's this lady here, and she just gives everybody a bit for the next round, either 0 or 1. Randomly, completely randomly, but everybody gets exactly the same bit, okay? So this is great, you have an oracle, because this would solve the trick and would work very quickly, right? Because, after the first round, somewhere on this scale I'm going to see something. It could be that I just see I'm here, and I look at the flipped coin, and if everybody's in this bucket, they all look at the same flipped coin, all the good guys at least, go to the next round, and then they would all decide they only see ones or they only see zeros, basically what she gave us. It could also be that, I'm here, I see, I'm somewhat the majority for ones, so I would vote 1 myself, but others could be in here, they could be in a neighboring bucket I explained before, and if they're in a neighboring bucket, it could be that this, lady gave a 0 at this point. So I would vote 1, others would vote 0, there would be no decision probably. It could happen, but there's no decision. Or she could also give a 1 and then there would be a decision. So chances that she guesses the right thing is maybe 50-50. Okay? Or we could try to get rid of her. Who likes oracles? We want to do something without oracles. Maybe what we could do is we could store a bit string, like a pseudo-random bit string or a random bit string if you want, with every participant before we start this whole process. Okay, everybody gets a random bit string, and then they just all look at the next bit in the random bit string. They look at the same bit in the random bit string, and that's kind of like the oracle gives them a random bit, but it's now in the bit string. This would be perfect. It doesn't use cryptography, and seems to be the same thing. But it's not, unfortunately. So because if we can kind of see what the bit string gives us, one can come up with ways this doesn't work. Let me show this quickly. So, let's say I'm currently here. This is kind of the setup. This is what the nodes currently have. These are my n nodes. There's a Byzantine guy on them, doesn't really matter that much. And now we can see they send out these messages, 0 and 1, according to this. And now some nodes might see basically, for instance, everybody from this group plus this group. Okay, so they see an overwhelming number of ones, so they might be over somewhere here. That's why it's noticed here. And others might see more zeros because they see also these zero messages, and then they see some of here. Or they might not see an overwhelming number of ones. They might see somewhat a mixed picture here. And now, of course, these would vote deterministically for 1 here because they see this. And these would vote 0 because they would go to the next bit in the bit string. Okay? And that's what they do if they are somewhat in the middle here. They see a mixed picture. And now, if I make the number of them the same number that I have down here, then you see, the next step will look exactly the same again. So these guys will vote 1 because they have seen this more ones, and these guys will vote 0 because they have seen more zeros, and you see it's the same number as I have down here. 3 zeros and the rest is ones. And that's a problem, okay? So then we go into the next round, and again, some will be this bit, some will see, ones, some will see zeros, and the same thing happens here. And if the next bit, and here we can see this next bit, if the next bit was a 1, then I would have the same setup, but I would just change these numbers here. I can arbitrarily choose how many see this, how many see that, right? By just scheduling messages in that way. So now here, many see zeros, not so many see ones, which is okay. We don't have a decision right now because there's a mixed, split view here. And for the next round, it's also not better because now I have many who see a 0 here, and few who see a 1, but the next bit will be a 1. So it's exactly the same as here, but just with zeros and ones reversed. Right? Good, so that's the problem, right? So with some scheduling, like depending on how messages are sent and received, you can make this protocol run forever, right? And so it doesn't make a decision after. It's even worse than exponential. If we are unlucky, okay, so this kind of assumes worst case, which may be the biggest lie of computer science, to assume worst case all the time, but it's good to sharpen our minds. So what's the boundary between crypto and no crypto? If we only encrypted this bit string, right? So we could have encrypted this bit string. So the problem was not only could we see the current bit that we have to base the decision on, which we need to go into the next round, but we also have seen the next bit already, right? And based on the next bit, the scheduler can make, or the Byzantine node can make, bad decisions. So if we encrypted the bit string, and would only reveal one bit at a time, then we would not know what the next bit is, and then we can use this hidden information to make a decision. And then this would be exactly the same thing as my Oracle lady that I had before, right? She also just told us the current random bit, but she didn't tell us the next random bit. And you can even say, is this really crypto to do this? You can do something like threshold secret sharing or something like that. And I personally think this is not really so much like crypto. It's some kind of asymmetric trapdoor kind of complicated math algebra crypto. It's just simple function crypto. It's not really crypto, but that's exactly where it gets interesting. What is crypto? What is not crypto? I find it somewhat intriguing here. So that would be the same thing, right? So we could do that. So they do some kind of threshold sharing and secret sharing, and then you need enough good guys in order to uncover the next bit to go to the next round. And then if the bad guys cannot uncover this by themselves, because there's only f of them, and we need, let's say, f plus 1 to uncover the next bit, then they cannot do anything about it. So that could be interesting. This stopped working somehow. Oh, now it comes again. Good, so let me give you a quick overview. So I want to solve Byzantine agreement, and if I have no Byzantine nodes, it's actually quite easy. Same thing what I assumed through my talk without ever saying it, that the system has to be somewhat asynchronous, so you have to wait for n minus f asynchronously. If the system is synchronous and you know that the message is going to arrive, it's actually sinful. If it's synchronous or if asynchronous, no, then it's sinful. Only if it's asynchronous, it's interesting. Then the question is, do you have crypto? If you have crypto, it's actually quite easy. If you have no crypto, that's our case that we are interested in. So the challenge is to have a fast Byzantine agreement without crypto. So what's the news here? So there's, give you a teaser for the last 5 minutes. So people thought about that long, and this is a problem which is like, at least 30 years old, okay? So people have not come up with anything better than in these 30 years. But there was a nice paper at Stock 2 years ago, and what it does, not by myself, okay? So what it does is, it uses a little trick. It says, let's do lots of coin flips. If you have n nodes, let's do, let's say, quadratic number of coin flips, okay? And you share those coin flips as before, and you sum them up, and let's say, think about plus and minus 1 coin flips. Okay, so if I sum them up, I would expect an average of 0 to make the math a bit simpler. But sometimes with actually quite a good probability, if you again know the central limit theorem, you know that the square root is kind of what you would expect in terms of standard deviation. So with some good probability, you get a value which is kind of bounded away from 0. It could be either the plus n side or the minus n side. Now, if we did this, if we shared these random coins among the nodes, and even if they don't all get the same coins because of scheduling and reasons I said before, maybe Byzantine nodes, which kind of send different things to different nodes, it kind of makes it somewhat robust against these bad things happening. So you could say if somebody sees a large sum, largely bounded away from 0, then maybe everybody would see a large sum, which is at least positive, okay? And then you could say, if everybody just decides whether it's a 0 or a 1 bit based on what they see, they have a positive or a negative sum, then maybe all the good guys would see a positive sum because it's far away from 0 what some guys see. And so that's the basic idea. Of course, the bad guys try to work against this. They try to say, let me just always, if I see that the bits are being sent around and there's more plus than minus bits, then I'm going to send around some minus bits so that we always go back to 0 again. Now we have to make sure that the bad guys cannot send around too many bits. That's the first thing. So what was proposed is you kind of build a matrix mentally, where you kind of note for every node what did they send around, and then you go in rounds. You say let everybody just send around the first bit, and let everybody send around the second bit, and so on. You always wait for n minus f of those bits, and then basically you check what's going on. But also the Byzantine guys can check what's going on. You can see here what they will do is if they start to notice that this sum is going towards positive, then the bad guys would start to send more negative bits. Okay, so to make the sum go towards 0. And somehow the bad guys here, they have a weight which is a bit higher than the good guys, right? But in the paper it was argued that this is no problem. What the paper didn't argue about, unfortunately, is the question if you additionally also have scheduling. The bad guys could they collude, first of all, but maybe they can also say which of the messages actually are received by other nodes and which of the messages are not received by other nodes, and you can play with this. And with that as well, it becomes much harder to detect them. So far the idea was that, if the bad guys send around more and more zeros, for instance, then it may be possible to detect them, to have evidence against them, like police work, right? Crypto is you have a hard proof against somebody that somebody did something bad. But this is more like evidence that somebody did something bad, because the random bits that this person sent around don't seem to be really random, okay? They seem to be kind of, going in the direction of make the sum 0. So if you put those things together, scheduling and bad guys, then it becomes harder to figure out what they are up to. This is basically where we stand right now. So this classic paper from 1983, exponential time. They said they can do it in polynomial time without crypto. We are not so sure about it. Okay, so that's kind of in that draft that you currently work on. We talked to these guys, of course, and they talked to us very nicely, and we tried to figure out what's going on here. Okay? But I think it's an interesting question, kind of with this important problem for distributed systems to kind of understand what is really the power of crypto. So, summary. Fast Byzantine agreement without crypto is still open. And kind of related to this, what is really the power of crypto? What does it really help? Like philosophical question of degree. It's not so much algebraic as maybe this workshop, more philosophical. Or you might cut down the power of what is really crypto. You might wonder about that. Is secret sharing crypto? How to set up a secret sharing scheme without crypto? That's maybe the open problem here also. If you could do that, maybe you can also solve it. All right. So with this, thank you guys.
Thanks for great talk. So, any question or comment?
Thank you, Roger, for this presentation. And I have a question for this presentation for achieving agreement is like look for like commitment scheme. But is your like president for today is not make easier to make more like not or not like commitment scheme?
To make a commitment. Sorry, commitment.
This, I mean, I saw this today's presentation. It looks like this. What is it?
Right, commitment scheme. It's certainly related to some sense. I haven't thought about it so far, but certainly related. I would say that the things I presented in the middle part, they are just some basic motivational ideas. I didn't want to present the last part, which is the tough one, right? At what point can you say, no, this node is really Byzantine, and you cannot really agree on that somebody is Byzantine, because if you agree on that somebody is Byzantine, you solve Byzantine agreement already, right? So it's kind of a gray area to say I rule somebody out, and Yama doesn't rule out good nodes because they kind of seem to have erratic behavior. That's sort of where it is, and I think that's somewhat.
Thank you.
So it's time to finish. So thanks, speaker again.